You're listening
to the CD Baby
CD Baby
DIY
Musician
Podcast.
Welcome to episode number 79 of the CD Baby DIY Musician Podcast. My name is Kevin, and joining me for this Roundtable edition is Chris.
Hello.
And The Bolt.
Hey.
The Bolt. Also known as Bolton or Robert, or you have so many aliases, it's hard to keep up.
Yep, I know. Man of mystery.
That's right.
Your new alias is generating some more controversy on our website.
Yeah, lots of good comments. People should be checking those out. And you know what? I'm just happy that for this episode, you guys are sitting in a way that I can see both of you without having to look around the room. Thanks for accommodating.
Right. Sure. It's all in the placement of the microphones.
That's right. So, how you guys been?
Good. Yeah. Good. I had a little surprise last night. I got an email from China. From a man in China.
Is this one somebody wanting you to deposit $1 million into your account?
No, I got that one as well. And the check is yet to clear, but we'll see about that. From a man in China who said he was a humongous fan of my band. And he said that his favorite song in the world was the song I'd written. And he said that he needed to know what the lyrics were for certain lines in the song. So he wrote out all the lyrics as far as he understood them from listening to them. And then he put in his interpretations of what he thought the lyrics were, but wasn't sure if they actually were. And they were actually really quite humorous. Yeah. like the opossum has a Band-Aid and stuff like that.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, it was funny.
That was the real lyric, right?
No.
No.
This begs the question, do opossums wear Band-Aids in China?
I've never been there. I don't know.
If I ever make it there, that'll be my first question.
And then he also said that he may be coming to Portland on like a business trip. His signature was like of some business in Tokyo, so I don't know how he found us, though CD Baby may have been how he found us. And you know what about us has caused him to be so infatuated, but he said that if we are playing when he comes into town, he'd love to see us. So I'm thinking like we should just put on a show just for this guy. If he's coming all the way from China.
Just go to his hotel room or something.
We're gonna have to get you a new outfit, maybe a haircut, get you cleaned up real nice.
So I don't know. I haven't actually talked to him yet, so we'll see what his who knows, maybe he's a friend of a friend or something like that. But I like to, at least at this point, to think that he stumbled across us online.
He stumbled upon greatness.
Yeah,
that's right. See, you never know what another CD Baby success story.
Exactly.
My week consisted of recording tunes on 16-track analog tape with no auto tune. I would like to.
That's right.
Announce.
People who listen to the podcast, they missed what happened before we hit record, and that is Chris is starting a revolution here against technology and all things digital.
And it's based on this. Auto-tune has allowed people who can't sing to make millions of dollars as singers. And I think this is a sign of our decadent culture's impending collapse.
How do you get this auto-tune? I'm just wondering, just for information.
It comes in something called a computer, which also allows people to use spell check instead of actually knowing how to spell or have proper grammar, and also allows people to make movies with CGI graphics, which look really crappy, like Avatar.
They don't even build their own robots
instead of Return of the
anymore.
Jedi, which used models and blue screens, which looked really real.
Mm-hmm.
So the computer is going down.
The revolution has begun. I think we need to get Ryan Wines back in here for you two to go at it, because that would be an entertaining podcast. No, I've had some anti-technology sentiments as of late, but
You choose not to share them on the podcast.
Yeah, I want to have friends still. We played a show last week where we were the opening band, and after our set, which, it was, the attendance was all right. the weathermen had been predicting Arctic Storm 2009 here in Portland, and so everyone was freaking out that, thinking that the world was ending. But it went on apparently, and no ice or snow. But we played our set. And I was back at the merch booth, which at this club has a very specific location where merch can be sold. It's a little booth all the bands share. And I was the only one back there from any of the bands that even had merch. The other bands didn't even have their merch back there. So the next band is playing, and he says, "Hey, go in the back. We've got download cards we'll give you for free." So all these people came up to me looking for free music, and they didn't have anything back there. So I said, "Hey, I've got download cards. I was in the first band. I'll give you one." And I made them sign up on the email list. And so all their fans, he said that a couple times throughout their show, and they kept coming back looking for download cards.
Do you think the singer of that band was mistaken and he thought they did have merch back there?
Yeah, he thought they did, because after their set got done, he scrambled to go get it and set up. But by then, all their people had come and gone. And
I didn't know if he was maybe just doing you a favor.
No. He thought they were set. And the thing that I was thinking about was, if we had physical CDs, which we do now, we just got them. I wouldn't have been as likely to give away the music. But I thought, not only is it a good idea to have download cards just for, whatever you're planning on your own, but it's a good thing to have on hand just in case, something like that happens where it's like suddenly a great opportunity for you to give some out or
steal other people's fans.
Yeah, or something you don't expect. And I was like, I thought it was very entertaining because I was just back there. Yeah, here you go, and everyone's signing up on our email list, and they knew I was clear that we were the opening band, and like, "Oh, we loved you guys too." I'm like, "Okay, here you go." Some guy came up and bought 2 T-shirts, and that I didn't ask. I just said, "I hope he doesn't think this is the band that's playing right now," but I'm not gonna ask.
Now that could be a whole scam. You could just start going to shows. You don't even have to be playing there, and just start
hang out at the merch booth giving away stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that was interesting.
Ethics of indie rock. Yeah.
CD Baby, we sell download cards, so you should get some. Have on hand. They're great promo opportunities, especially because you never know what the other bands at your show are going to do, and you're not going to want to hand out free CDs, but it's a good opportunity. So that was an interesting experience, and it ended up being fun. I was having a blast. So let's get to some news. Just have a couple headlines, and then on to some more banter, witty, humorous banter, and then later on your phone calls, listener feedback, and so on. So let's get to the news.
CD Baby.
CD Baby.
Music.
News.
In an age of user-generated content, the most viral videos are not made by the users, just passed around by them. A list of the top 10 viral videos of 2009 as tracked by Visible Measures, which counts not only plays on YouTube, but also videos shared across social networks like MySpace, as well as MTV Networks and Viacom. Their research showed that the list of the most watched internet videos for 2009 are nearly all music videos, with the exception of the number one viral video, which is the trailer for the movie Twilight Saga: New Moon. Visible Measures estimates that the trailer had been watched more than 592 million times. All the other videos in the top 10 are music videos, such as the one for Beyonce's song Single Ladies, which was number 2, and thus are also essentially advertisements for mainstream media content. Even the 2 Michael Jackson music videos on this year's list, Thriller and Beat It, no doubt helped sales of the deceased singer's albums. The one amateur video is Susan Boyle's heartwarming American Idol performance, but the whole point of the show is to elevate amateur singers to mainstream status, so I'm sure that doesn't count. Visible Measures list is determined by data from viewership of both officially syndicated video clips and viewer-driven social media placements. The data is compiled using its database analysis on more than 200 million internet videos across 150 video sharing platforms. And we'll post a link where you can see the top list. Well, literally an hour after we recorded the last Roundtable edition of the podcast, Apple made it official that they had indeed purchased Lala.com, the online music retailer that is powering the Google One Box search result. So there's much speculation about what Apple's plans could be. Many believe Apple wants to move towards a cloud service that will make your iTunes content available no matter where you are. It also would not rely on the iTunes software, just an internet connection. Lala already provides that service. In fact, with Lala, you can upload your entire personal music catalog to their server, even music you didn't purchase for them, so you have access to your music anywhere you have an internet connection. So in the world of 3G iPhones and moving to the future when they are 4G, you can see how that technology might be extremely beneficial to whoever can capitalize on it. And those were the two headlines I thought were worthy.
Cool.
If you're not familiar with what cloud computing is, that just means all the information is stored on a server and not your local computer. So
you can access it from multiple computers.
Yeah, and that's a term that's popping up a lot. There's a lot of various cloud computing ideas out there. And apparently Amazon is starting to work with that as well. So people are speculating that Amazon MP3 will be doing something soon.
And luckily, I mean, the risk with that is usually that these companies will go out of business, but you think iTunes is pretty stable, I would think, I hope.
Yeah, and that's the only thing I don't like about some of these, and why I've never caught on to like the subscription model, because several big companies have gone out of business and taken all the money you've paid to have access away.
But I think that, I mean, and I could be wrong, with cloud computing, they're simply acting as a storage device. So if they're going to go out of business, they should give you ample time to download everything you have. So you have a copy of it, and then you could move to a different service and upload it there.
Yeah, I mean, that would be ideal. And one would hope that would be the case. And with Apple, I wouldn't be worried. So the computers will be long gone before.
That's true.
So
I forgot I'm monitoring the revolution on Facebook right now.
And apparently right now, as we're recording, they've decided to do construction on the exterior walls of this room. But we'll press on. So anyway, yeah, this is our last roundtable and last podcast for the year 2009. Just thought...
for the decade.
For the decade, that's right. We're going to start a whole new decade of podcasting.
All right. I can hardly wait.
I can't as well. I don't know what they'll be, but we'll figure something out. Yeah, so this is going to be the final episode. We'll take a couple weeks break and enjoy a little holiday fun ourselves and then get back to it. I was kind of surprised by that top 10 list of viral videos, that it was all music videos that were produced, the old traditional way, the major label producing music videos as a promotional effort. I thought that some, crazy internet video viral thing would be up at least in the top 10. But
the thing that strikes me as yet another sign of our culture's collapse is that the number one video is Twilight.
But I will say that it has a pretty good soundtrack to it. There's some Tom York, some Death Cab for Cutie.
I like the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Not my thing.
But it was surprising because, and also proves a point that we've made many times on this podcast before, that the number one reason to make a music video is for promotional purposes and not to try and sell it. And I think that proves the point, because I'm sure that has been more beneficial to their career for giving it out and letting people share it than actually trying to sell it in iTunes, which I don't think many people as a whole are all that interested in buying.
Right. And I mean, in one sense, the advertisers and stuff will look at this pretty positively and say, wow, like, mainstream can go viral, and look how many impressions this is making. And, it's going to encourage advertising companies to move into the advertising world and therefore make things like a viral video worthwhile to both, the people who make the video and people who want to use that as sort of advertising leverage.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if that trend continues in the year 2010. Surprising with the decline in the mainstream music business, that they still have a strong hold with some of the...
Yeah, and hopefully we'll see some more weird, quirky indie videos on that top 10 list.
Yeah, I'm sure like the top 100 list was a little bit different. I could be wrong, but I'm sure a lot of interesting and bizarre things were on that. But the top 10 list, all mainstream content. So
I personally preferred the baby watching all the single ladies video. Did you guys see that one?
Mm-mm.
The video's playing on TV, and then in front of it is this baby propped up on a table, and he's trying to imitate the dances. It's good. You should check it out.
That sounds
cool.
quality.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought you didn't use computers anymore.
I'm currently monitoring the anti-computer revolution via Facebook.
Has to start somewhere.
You have to know your enemy.
That's right.
Destroy it from the inside.
Well, before we get into our recap of the episode, I was going to give a little update on, we gave our promotion tips for Christmas, and I was going to give a little update on what we did and if it worked or not. But my band, Hello Morning, we did record. Yeah, and the Christmas song came out great, and I do need to give a big thank you to Matt McCabe. He's a big fan of the podcast. He offered to mix it for free, so he did an excellent job. It turned out great. He took all the tracks that we all recorded at home ourselves and turned them into something that sounded good, and we appreciate it. He does a great job, and he's very affordable. I won't say his rates on the podcast because they may change, but very affordable and does a good job. And I'll put a link to his website on the podcast notes, but it's just finleysound.com. And he's a super nice guy, so thank him for that. And we'll play that song at the end of the podcast. Videos along the way. So for me, it was a victory in the fact that we actually did it and got the content up there, and people seem to have been liking the videos. It wasn't, like this huge success of, building fans, but we don't really have that many fans. We're just starting out. So there's not going to be like thousands of people sharing the content, but it's free on CD Baby. If you go to cdbaby.com, search Hello Morning, free our version of I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day, and it was recorded. None of us, which kind of ties into this past week's episode, none of us actually ever were in the same room all together to record this song. We did it all over, just sharing files over the internet, and maybe how the album of the future will be made.
Mm-hmm. It sounds good.
Oh,
I like it.
Well, thank you.
I haven't heard it yet.
Well,
it'll be on the end of the show.
Yeah, so stay tuned. Sit right there. Don't move. You'll hear it in just a few minutes. To recap a little bit of the last episode, I talked to Ryan States, who plays keyboard for the circus, and he didn't want me to put it in like prominently in his interview, but it's, Ringling Brothers. It's the big one.
Yeah.
Just because some companies, freak out when their name's attached to some interview that wasn't sanctioned by them.
Right.
And I saw some pictures online, and it is an enormous production. I mean, enormous. And
wow.
So it's not like something where it's, just a couple of clowns jumping out of a VW Bug and then him in the back playing piano
in somebody's parking lot.
In someone's parking lot. Yeah, this is like the real deal, and so he's gone constantly because you can't transport elephants to a new location every night, so they're usually in a city.
Yeah, I know. I had a tough time with that myself.
So to me, the reason why I thought the interview would be interesting was because I remember back in college, just like Ryan said, there'd be these flyers for everyone saying tour with a gigging band, and they wouldn't tell you who it was.
Yeah.
And so it was like an amusement park or a circus or something like that. And a lot of the musicians, because we were in Nashville, would be kind of torn whether or not to go spend the summer like at an amusement park town, which is generally not, a major city somewhere, or if it is, it's not Nashville or LA or New York. They kind of be torn whether they should leave town and go make money playing music, or stick around and try and get, some studio gigs or whatever, which, chances are they wouldn't. But now that question it's not as much of an issue because you can collaborate no matter where you are. And even if you're on a train, which Ryan did.
Impressive.
I would not do it on a train. I would not do it on a plane. I would not do it.
Now that planes have Wi-Fi, you could start tracking while you could be sitting next to a guy who whips out his whole Pro Tools rig. And
yeah, you'd have to do some major EQ on those tracks, more than on the train probably.
I think you'd probably get tackled by everybody on the plane. They probably think you're trying to take over the control of the plane or something like that.
But Chris, you had some thoughts.
I was curious about kind of missing the real-time element of having a studio musician come in where you can say, oh yeah, that's good, but I don't like the snare there. Why don't you move the snare to like this beat and, less on the cymbal, where you're actually like really in the moment with the person.
Mm-hmm.
And if there was a way to, like, maybe through Ustream or something like that, combining the elements of like real-time collaboration.
It's essentially,
and,
it's essentially like, what do they call that game? The something corpse? Exquisite Corpse?
Exquisite Corpse, yeah.
Where you draw a picture and then you hand that picture to someone else and they elaborate on it, and then they hand it on to someone else and elaborate on that.
Mm-hmm.
So, in a way, it's almost a completely different art form than actually like a collaborative effort when you're in the same room with people, when you've created relationships with people, you're in a band together, you go out and gig together. Like, that's so much different than just like handing a little bit and having someone else add on to it. It's like making a patchwork quilt or something. Mm-hmm. And I imagine it wouldn't work very well if you didn't have like a certain amount of acceptance to be like, this might be something completely different than what I expected by the time it's done.
Yeah, and I thought he might go into a little bit more about that, but he seemed pretty happy. I didn't mention this in the podcast as well, because it wasn't a reason why I got him on the show, but I actually played a track on the song I played. I played acoustic guitar. He just emailed me, hey, do you know anybody who could play acoustic guitar, but they got to be able to record it themselves? And I said, I could do it. He sent me a track that had, basically everything that he had put in there, and he had a keyboard part playing kind of similar what he wanted the guitar to do, and then he had a track without that in there, and then without the keyboard in there, and so I just played it down. And next time around he may be a little bit more picky as far as like, okay, now I know how to get to people and deal with them across the internet. Maybe this time now I'll start going back and forth. And it is a pain that dealing with people going back and forth, just like mixing our EP. I was emailing back and forth with the engineer, and it just becomes a major pain. It's like, I just wish I was there.
Just rather be in the room with the person.
Yeah,
right?
this a 2-minute conversation could solve 3 days of emailing. You know? So I could see that being an issue, but I have heard that there's some technology coming where there's real-time collaboration with studios. Some of it already may be in place, but where through webcams and
oh yeah, I heard about people doing that, like live jams and stuff.
Oh right, yeah.
I even think that there's some cell phone that they made that actually has the capability of doing like a live jam with like people remotely.
My concern would just be the latency. Like if there's a couple seconds or milliseconds latency, everyone can't play together.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's some interesting. I'm sure that will be developing a lot in the coming years. I think that's going to be a big deal, remote collaboration. People are already doing it. It's not like it's something new, but as far as like making it where it is so seamless that it's just, I open up Pro Tools and I can dial in a drummer somewhere and we're already linked. We can play together, and it uses cloud computing.
What's going to happen? This is my vision that I just came up with on the spot. All the technologies are sort of like culminating in this way that what bands are going to do is they're going to create avatars, and those avatars will be projected on stage. Everybody will be like, like fat and old and like uncool and like playing their guitar in their basement, but they'll have like these awesome looking avatars playing up on stage in front of hundreds of thousands of people.
Hasn't that already happened?
It has?
In Second Life.
Well, right. It's going to be Second Life, but in real life.
Oh,
that's like worlds colliding.
Wow. I know.
I think my brain just exploded.
That's right.
But my computer's still on.
All right. How's your revolution going over there?
I just got one more comment. Let's see.
Chris is currently organizing on Facebook
To conquer the world?
To conquer the world of computers.
Oh, yes. To bring down the world of computers via Facebook.
He's also, I should add, recording some new music strictly analog to tape, and that's partly the what's got him in that mode.
The anti-computer vibe.
One more convert.
It all starts with one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why don't we, if you guys have some more comments about collaboration, why don't we get into some listener calls?
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
CD Baby Podcast.
Message line
206-426-5683.
The number you have dialed
206-426-5683.
Hey guys, this is Mason Douglas. I'm an artist out here in Nashville, Tennessee, and a big fan of the podcast, and just have some quick advice for your listeners out there. I'm releasing a brand new album this spring, which we just got done recording. Since we're on a super tight indie label, shoestring budget kind of thing, I was trying to convince my producer Greg that we just did not need to buy 2 hard drives to back up all of our songs and tracks and sessions for the project. I thought 2 backup drives would be a little overkill, and one would be just fine, especially since we're trying to save whatever cost we could on this thing. So, well, lo and behold, during mixdown, after all the tracking and overdubs, Greg's hooking up this brand new analog converter for the final mixes, a brand new converter that actually had a bad FireWire card in it, which when we turned it on began to cause the backup drive to smoke and fry, along with 13 track songs, all our overdubs, and all of our months of work pretty much up in smoke. So, at this point, I was very, 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 very happy that Greg had convinced me to actually get that second backup drive that we'd been using, just in case something crazy like this happened, which it did. In the end, everything was fine after we got everything replaced under warranties, but let that be a word of warning to everyone. Have a backup for your backup. And you can find this new Mason Douglas album this spring on Whirl Rhythm Records. Check out masondouglasmusic.com for all the news, and guys, keep up the great work on the podcast. Thank you.
Hey guys, I guess it doesn't really matter who I am, but just, if you have a bad show or a bad experience, it's easy to get super down on it. But, the only reason you have a really good show is because you compare it to the bad ones. And I guess you learn from your mistakes too. So keep your heads up and have more fun at your next show. I'm just saying this because we just had a really bad show. So, all right.
All right, that was our first set of calls. I think that was Eeyore that called the last time. Guy needs a hug.
I know.
But Chris, I think Nathan Douglas may be another convert to your anti-technology.
I know. Well, you have to back things up on tape too, right? If the tape starts flaking and...
That's true. But I've never seen a tape machine get plugged in and fried. Tape.
Yeah, I know. 16-track analog tape.
But that's always not only do you need to back it up, but it's always good to keep, if you've got a couple albums, that you've done a few years back, to go back and make sure those hard drives are still functioning properly. Because I had a indie album I did where, I checked it, and then for some reason the hard drive was having an issue. Luckily, I was able to back it up again to a new drive. But, as technology advances, some of the old drives don't work as good, or if they've just been sitting there for years, electronics do break down just kind of naturally, sometimes because of dust and sometimes just because it got dropped and you didn't realize it. So it's always good to keep going back and rebacking them up with newer drives. So yes, do that. I have a friend that says it doesn't exist if it's not backed up to 3 different places. So. Yeah, hang in there, Eeyore.
There'll be more good
sounds
shows.
like he's got the right attitude, though.
Yeah.
He does.
We kind of had a bad show last night. Not Hello Morning, but the other artist I play for. It was kind of a rough show last night. I felt hungover this morning, and I didn't drink anything. It's just, dang it, I'll play again.
Yep.
All right, here's our second batch of calls.
Hello, this is Christopher North calling from Brooklyn, New York. ChristopherNorth.com, 7 albums on CD Baby and iTunes. Just calling with a real quick query to see about the option of getting a buy all button or a buy all option on the CD Baby website, either next to the artist or at least next to various individual albums. You'd have the option to buy all the albums at a different price point. That would be just be another way of getting more fans and more happy customers in these trying times. I'm just about ready to set it up myself via PayPal, but it would be great to have that option on CD Baby as well. Think about it, and happy holidays.
Hi, this is Jay from Bosco and Peck. I was calling about the latest episode and Andy Epler going off on Matt Ebel about Twitter. That was great. It's hilarious. I think you guys need to do a Mac PC commercial, a mock one. I'm a Twitter, I'm a Facebook. That would be hilarious. And if they do make it, I need to know. You need to let us know because I would love to see it. And also, I want to make stickers or maybe just buttons for websites that say, "Eat it, Ebel," because that's hilarious. And hey, it's good publicity for him. I mean, I think it was Primus that did Primus Sucks, and it worked great for them. So this is Jay from BoscoImpact.com. I hope this gets through to the right people.
Yes, it did get through to the right people, and that would be funny. A Twitter person and a Facebook person going at it in a Mac-style commercial. And Matthew, I don't think he's insinuating that you suck like the Primus thing. He just thinks...
Eat it, evil.
Yeah, two people very, very firm in their beliefs going back and forth and sparring. It makes for good content.
Hello, I am a Twitter, and I just walked outside. The sun is up. That's my impression. But you have to say everything that you're...
characters?
You have to say whatever you're doing in 140
That's right.
characters.
So, yeah, the controversy continues. But you know what? Aside from Chris's anti-technology revolution he's starting over there, I've been kind of slow on Twitter lately, been kind of bored with it. And it's partly because with Facebook, you know, if I see, you know, I'm like, oh, I wonder what Chris is up to. I can kind of put in something, search his name, or even just see his most recent post and then see more about what he's been up to. Where with Twitter, if people aren't producing a pretty continuous stream, it's really hard to keep up with them. So that's
Right.
and most of the people I've been following have stopped producing continuous streams. So there's hardly anyone I'm following, a small percentage of them compared to the amount of people I'm following that are actually producing continuous content where I like, because I check it every day. I mean, I have it on all day at work here. I mean, what else are you going to do at work?
Yeah, I know. Well, there's YouTube.
Well, that's
I'm
on my
Facebook
breaks.
right now. I'm plugged in as we're supposed to be podcasting right now.
That's right. That's right. So we love the phone calls, and the listener line is 206-426-5683. Please call with your comments, questions, feedback, ideas. We'll share ideas.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to hear if you've had some success this Christmas season. I'd love to hear you kind of do a recap, or if you've got a kind of recap for the year, what worked for us, what didn't, what goals we have in 2010. It'd be cool to start, hearing some of those.
And we haven't had a mistake story in a while.
Didn't we have one in the last episode?
Did we?
I can't remember. Well, we almost had a mistake story right here with the hard drive.
With the hard drive, right?
That's where I thought it was going. Like right when he's going, I had my head down the first time I was listening to it shaking. Then he said, "But luckily," I'm like, yes, because nothing worse than losing all of that. All right, well, we'll catch you in the new year. Have a good one.
Familiar carols play. peace on earth, goodwill to men. The bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, good